Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mandy, and I am here with Jeff once again, round two, to talk about Zeolite. He's made some really exciting changes to the formulation, and we're here to talk about this new product launch before it launches, which is going to happen very soon. So for those of you who are new, please make sure to subscribe to my page. And if you like what you're hearing, please like the video at the bottom. In here and talk about zeolite. So I know some of you are new to this idea of different binders. And so you might be asking, what is zeolite and why should I use it? So I'm going to have Jeff introduce himself first and then kind of dive right into the topic of zeolite and what it is. Hi.
Sure. Hey, Dr. Manny, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Good to
Good to
be
have you
here.
again.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm Jeff, Jeff Hoyt. I started Glyco Life Sciences a number of years back, and that's where we had our first interview talking about Zeo Boost. Now I started another company called Zeolite Labs, and we're preparing to launch our next generation version of Zeolite called Zeocharge.
Very nice.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm passionate about zeolite, and I do a number of other things as well. I have a wellness clinic, and I'm into the whole health arena. But one of my favorite tools is using zeolite, because if you're living in the 21st century, basically you have to detox because we're just bombarded with toxins from all over the place. So zeolite is a volcanic mineral that has a negative ionic charge, and it binds to positively charged elements, which are generally the things that we don't want in our bodies, such as heavy metals, leftover pieces of radiation, mycotoxins, environmental toxins, and glyphosate, plastics, etc. So basically, it's a tool for detox, and that's one of the most important things, in my opinion, that we can be using in this day and time.
Right. So in your opinion, do you think everyone should be using zeolite?
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of people would say yes, but you have to ask yourself what your environment is internally and externally. If you're living in a perfectly clean environment where you're not exposed to any toxic elements, and your body is at a place where everything that's coming in, you're able to excrete, then you may not need it. Unfortunately, I've met no one in that situation, because even if now you're in a clean environment, our bodies have stored toxic elements from previous years of exposure, and it takes extra support to give your body the energy to remove those things from deep storage, even if you're not actively accumulating toxins. So for some people, maybe they only need to go on it for a couple of months just to do a deep storage cleanse, like in the body, deep toxin storage cleanse. Other people might need to go a little bit longer, depending on just current exposure of the environment and overall toxicity. Another thing that's important is, because I'm all about working with the body and not against the body, because it's really our body that controls our detox capacity. So the healthier you are, the more you're naturally detoxing. The sicker you become, the more toxic you also become, because your body's natural detox capacity goes down. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm sick because I have these heavy metals or I have these toxins." Well, a lot of times you actually have the heavy metals and toxins because you're sick. So it's not necessarily the metals that are making you sick, but you could have gotten sick because something else made you sick. Now you have metal accumulation because your body doesn't have enough energy to focus on detox. So it just shoves those metals right into storage when they come into your body. But at the same time, now you have these heavy metals that are contributing to the overall sickness that started the issue. So it's kind of a snowball effect. That's why generally people that are not as healthy as they'd like to be have higher loads of heavy metals, toxins, microbial imbalance, etc., because it's just this negative snowball effect. And we want to reverse that trend and get your body to the point where it can regain control.
So, and I do want to just briefly touch on, I know you had your own health struggles, so you can kind of explain that. But, as far as age, in your opinion, does the age of a person play into the need to detox more?
Absolutely. Just in general, the younger you are, your body's it's just like a new car. The new car is generally functioning very well. The older it gets, the more problems it has. It just needs a little bit more regular maintenance. It can still run. It just needs a little extra care. Mm-hmm. Same with the body. I mean, when we're younger, we're just able to tolerate a little bit more. So if you want to refer to it as a stress threshold, everyone has a certain amount of stress. And when I say stress, I mean anything that makes your body work harder than normal to stay in balance. So not just mental, emotional, physical stress. I'm talking the metal burden, any sort of toxicity, EMFs, all of that. Anything that's making your body work harder, you have a certain limit that you can handle. Once you pass that, that's when you're moving into symptoms, which are then diagnosed as conditions and disease states, et cetera. So your stress threshold will lower over time because your body's natural just potential starts decreasing, and you have the accumulation of those toxic stressors that have been stressing you out for years. So yeah, as you get older, definitely you have to be a little bit more proactive to maintain health. What I like to say is you're not going to be healthy by accident anymore
Exactly.
at
Oh,
any
yeah.
age, really. So you
Yeah,
have to do
and that
something.
goes into your story because, and I have seen more and more patients in their 20s, and I even have a few that were in their teens that have come to me with the IC. So, and you've had your own personal story with your own health struggles, and you're under 30. So, so it is starting to come down. The age is starting to come down where people are starting to have some of these problems, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a different set of problems. I mean, the old, if you're in your 60s and 70s, that generation has a different set of issues than people that are in their teens and 20s now. We have different chemicals being produced. I mean, in the 60s and 70s, that generation, they have a lot of metal toxicity. And one of the main reasons is because of the metal amalgams that were put in almost all of their mouths.
Yeah.
And I work with these people all the time, and most of them have had their fillings removed. But what they don't realize is removing the fillings removes your exposure, but it doesn't remove the internally stored metals. So these people I test these people that have had fillings out 30 years ago, and they still have incredibly high levels of mercury and silver. It's not going anywhere. They need to actively do something to get that out of their body. So that's you have a lot of metals there. The younger generation, you just have tons of chemicals. And the EMFs, honestly, are a huge issue. The electromagnetic frequency radiation from, I mean, even Wi-Fi, from cell phone radiation, from 5G, all these different things. It's just a whole set of issues. We've just got to work extra hard.
Well, we also know that the maternal, the fetal cord can actually, a lot of the toxins can actually pass through
Yes.
into and not all of them are being, cleared with the placenta. So,
Yes.
yeah, so we're actually getting it from our mothers as well. So if your mom's toxic, mom, you're passing it on to your kids. And I know I did with my children, unfortunately, because my son was born with candida issues from the time he was born. He had candida problems. I mean, there was no other reason for it. He's getting breast milk. Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
So, okay. So now that you guys know that you all need it, the next question is, I know, like, I get this a lot. There's so many zeolites on the market, like the sprays and the nose sprays and like the MLM products. I don't even want to name it. I don't remember the name of that one that everyone loves. And then your old Zeo Boost and now this. So I'm sure you have a lot to say because this is what you do. So can you please explain to the audience what the difference is between all of these?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of good zeolite products and there's a lot of not so good zeolite products, but it goes beyond quality. So for an effective zeolite detox, you need both the proper quality, you need the proper quantity, and you really need the proper qualifications. So the three Qs. So the first thing is the quality. A lot of the products on the market are not very good quality because zeolite is a mineral. There's many zeolite mines around the world and almost all of them are for commercial use. So there's a few in the United States. Anyone can order the zeolite, then they can have it sent to a facility and crush it and whatever. That's what a lot of the products are, and you definitely don't want that in your body because it's highly contaminated with diesel and other contaminants, and it doesn't have the proper manufacturing process. So traditional zeolite is crushed using a milling process because zeolite, you can imagine it like a big rock. It's a mineral like a big stone. And then you have to make it into smaller, tiny particles for it to be effective for whatever the application may be. So the commercial process uses a mill, which is just crushes it. Now the problem with that is that it could crush the zeolite structure, making it ineffective. So what we use, and this is what the higher end zeolite companies will use as well, is micronization. So instead of a mill that crushes, micronization is a slicing motion. So it basically slices the zeolite particles, and then we can turn that zeolite rock into any particle size we want. So that's one of the things to look for. And of course, the cleaning is the third party testing. Is it remineralized after the cleaning? There's a lot of different variables for that. We take care of all that. But honestly, the best companies are all going to do that. So as long as you're working with a reputable company, you're probably going to have a good zeolite product or quality. So then you want to look at the qualification, and then we'll get to quantity, which is probably the most important. The qualification is basically what are you trying to use the zeolite for? We basically have two classifications of zeolite products on the market. We have the larger particle sized and the smaller particle sized. So the larger particle sized are generally the powders. So those are more traditional zeolite products, and they're just designed to be a gut binder. So they're larger, they stay in your gut, and they just bind to things in your gut. Fantastic. Then we have liquid zeolite products, which generally have taken that same powder and they've made it into a smaller particle size through that micronization process. And they market it as a nano zeolite or however they're marketing it. They're just smaller particle sizes, and they're marketing it for more of a whole body cellular detox or systemic detox. So it's getting throughout the body, and they're both good. So what we've done is and there's benefits to each one. What we've done is we've taken both and combined them into one product. So we've got a range of particle size going from the super small to the larger that will stay in the gut. So it's a more comprehensive detox. So that's important.
This is ZeoBoost you're talking about right now?
This is both. So we started that with the ZeoBoost. Yep. So ZeoBoost, we had that as well.
Okay.
The difference with Zeocharge is that we basically just fine-tuned the particle size arrangement. That's really the only difference between ZeoBoost and Zeocharge. It's the same source, zeolite, the same manufacturing process, the cleaning, the same quality, but we've basically determined that this new particle size arrangement is a little bit more effective. So basically, you're able to take a little bit less and get the same benefits as you were with ZeoBoost.
Okay, so if I can understand this correctly, you have the large, you have the small, but you have different variations of large and small. Is
right, it's all in between. So for example, with the ZeoBoost is 0 micron, 0 point whatever microns, 2 all the way up to 25, mostly microns, a little bit up to 40, but mostly 0 to 25. The new one is it's a little bit smaller even than the ZeoBoost and the zeros, and then it goes to only 12.
Oh.
So what we kind of discovered is that after 12, you might not need as much. So, and the smaller the particle size is, the more surface area, so the more effective it is at binding anyway. So you want it to be smaller, it's just you don't want it to be too small, because if you just have nano zeolite, that's these, nano sized, and you have toxic elements in your body that are bigger than the zeolite particle, how is the zeolite particle going to bind to it? So that's why we want a broad spectrum solution, so we can bind to all the toxic elements in our bodies, because there's so many things we don't even know are in there that we want to remove. Plus, we have the combination. Some are going through the body for the cellular detox. The other ones are just staying in the gut for the digestive detox. And that does help reduce the detox symptoms associated with a lot of the liquid zeolite products.
Okay, let's dive into them now. So the liquid zeolite products, which are the ones most people ask me about, now that I'm learning this, it's smaller micron. So obviously they're binding the smaller sized toxins. So why would somebody have more detox symptoms? Can you explain that a little more?
So, and I'll say one more thing about the liquids, and then I'll move on to the quantity of taken, so the dose needed, and that's going to determine basically the reaction that you experience. But with the liquids, and I think there's probably 2 reputable liquid brands on the market, and the rest I would never put in my body. I would never put any of them in my body, honestly, but the 2 at least are reputable. All the other ones I would almost consider scams. Because if you really look into it, basically they're taking pretty low quality zeolite powder and mixing it with a small amount of water and calling it liquid zeolite. So when I've reached out, their particle size in their nano zeolite is even larger than our powder. Oh. And you're getting just basically there's nothing in there. So one of the more popular zeolites on the market, liquids actually, offers 300 micrograms per serving. Mm-hmm. Which is less than 1 milligram. So 300 seems like a lot. Our 1 jar of this is our Zeocharge, our new product, offers 8,333.3 times the amount of actual zeolite, that is in 1 liquid zeolite product. So the problem is, and their product isn't even in any way better than this. That's the problem. So you're basically just wasting money at that point.
It's water.
If it's the only option, it may be helpful, it may not, but there's just no reason to use it. So there's a couple reputable, but I just don't recommend them primarily because even if you have a liquid zeolite that's a good quality, in my opinion, you can't get the dose needed for a proper detox. So that's what, we've talked before about therapeutic dose.
Correct.
What's the dose needed to get the desired effect? So that's really the most important thing that I've discovered with zeolite is once you have quality, you need to have the right dose. Because even with the best zeolite product in the world, if you don't take enough, you're not going to get good results. So, and I have a document called the higher dose theory of zeolite that I developed that's going to be available on the website for view. And it just goes into detail on it's a very complicated subject. But basically, I discovered this theory. I developed the theory where taking a higher dose of zeolite is actually gentler on your body than taking a low dose, which is contradictory to what everyone else says.
I've struggled with the patients because they do it and sometimes they have a little bit, not many don't, but the ones that have reactions, their gut instinct is knee-jerk reaction. Lower the dose. And I'm like, no, higher. So I'm glad you made that because sometimes I have to send them to you because I feel like they don't believe me. So I'm glad that you have that on the website because I can just send them to the website. Yeah,
it's just more info and it's been helping people. So for example, just the last couple of weeks, I've been working with a few extreme cases, the incredibly sensitive individuals with the methylation issues and the mold toxicity and all that. One actually bought ZeoBoost 2 years ago, has been holding it, afraid to take it. She called me 2 weeks ago and wanted to try it. And she thought she was going to die from taking it. So I said, well, don't take it if you think you're going to, don't do anything like that. But I explained the dose theory and I told her you should take 12 teaspoons, one dose. And she said, no, I can't do that because she mentioned, she's taking a Cia 1 drop, Nox, all these products, she takes 1 drop and she can't even function at all. I said, well, why don't you try 12 teaspoons and let me know? She takes 12 teaspoons, calls me the next day, could not even believe it. She felt 0 reaction.
Oh, nice.
And she's been on it now for 2 weeks, taking 12.
At 12?
Yeah.
Do you anticipate she'll be able to go back down to a normal dose?
Yeah, that's the goal. So we actually have a program with the Zeocharge called the Ultimate Zeolite Experience, where you start with 6 tablespoons. So it's actually 18 teaspoons, 6 tablespoons per day. You do that for 1 month. The next month you do 5 tablespoons, 4, 3, 2. So it's a 5-month program. You start high, work your way down, just because the sicker you are, the higher the dose you need. And then the healthier you become, the less you need. So let me quickly explain. The
sicker you are, the more you need.
And I know so far no one believes me. I haven't been very convincing. So let me just explain a little bit of the theory behind it. So with most supplements, yes, you want to start with a low dose, work your way up, right? Low and slow, that's great. But zeolite works in a different way. So what you have to consider, because detox is a very complicated process. So basically, when you take any detox supplement as powerful as zeolite, it's going to stir things up in your body. When you stir things up in your body and your body can't handle the extra toxins that were just pushed into circulation, that's when you get a detox reaction or a detox symptom. It's basically a sign that your body is not able to handle the additional toxic stress that was just added to your body. So a lot of people say just power through it. It's just normal. It means the protocol is working. In my opinion, it's the opposite. It means your body is actually being stressed out and you don't want to continue with it, at least long term, because you know you're putting stress on your body. So here's basically the theory. When you need to take a large enough dose of zeolite to bind all of the toxins that are currently in circulation, along with any of the toxins that are going to be added to circulation as you stir things up during the detox process. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So if you take a small amount, what happens is you go in, you stir things up, and you've only removed a tiny bit from circulation.
Releasing your army, but you have other things that are being liberated from the enemy. And you just want to really get that first shot, because you have that first shot to really hit them hard and just hit them hard right from the beginning.
Yep. Because if you just take a little, you've taken a little bit out, but you've added more to it. So you actually can become more toxic as you detox.
Oh.
And then in turn, not only are you dumping more toxins into circulation, they then redistribute, find a new home. You could be worse off than before, but that also lowers your body's natural detox capacity, just your body's natural ability to detox, because you've added stress to your body, and now your body has to handle that stress, so it's not going to focus on detoxing.
Yeah.
So what people don't really realize is most detox protocols and supplements actually make you more toxic, even if you take them long term. So it's all about the dose you have to basically get to, and the dose is going to be different for everyone. a perfectly healthy person might only need to take a tablespoon a day or even less. They're fine. When you're not, you're going to have to take
And
that
I've
higher
seen
dose.
this on the
Yeah.
hair test when these
Yeah.
metals go up. And I've always
Yes.
wondered about that because I know, like, the theory is they're actually being liberated and pushed into the soft tissue, but that sounds like what you're kind of saying. You know,
Right. What you with the yeah, you do want the metals, you want movement. So with the fact that they're moving up is when I do the testing, what I look at is the trend of both the vitamin minerals and the metals. So you want the metals to either go up or down. If they're going up, it means that you had deeply stored metals that are now being liberated from their storage unit and now they're being excreted, which is good. But then you want to look at the mineral and vitamin status to make sure that it's not being negatively affected. Because even if you're moving the metals, it's possible that even if you're not feeling symptoms, you could still be having a stressful internal experience. So
exactly.
if you're getting improvement, especially in vitamin status, if you're doing vitamin test, any whatever testing you're doing, you can do liver testing, whatever. If you're getting improvement, it means your body's actually reducing its stress load while you're detoxing, which most people don't even think is really possible, but it is. I'll tell you that. It's more difficult, but that can be achieved, and that's the ideal situation. And if you can get there, you're going to detox much faster because you're never going to detox at a pace that your body doesn't want you to detox at.
Right.
That's another thing. No matter what you take, no matter how strong the binder or chelator is, if your body does not want to release that metal, it's not going to let go. Now, the product will grab things in general circulation, but the product will not go into tissues and rip out metals. No product in the world will do that, no matter what anyone says, unless your body releases it. So the key to detox is really cleaning up the general circulation so that there's basically room in there. So your body then feels confident and it naturally dumps those metals and toxins that are in storage into general circulation because it's now confident that it can get it out of the body. That's really at least how I think that detox really works.
Yeah, so you really want to avoid the early onset of stressing the body, and by going high from the get-go, you may be able to bypass that. So ultimately, the process won't take as long, but it won't be as painful trying to detox.
Right.
And you won't go through the period of getting worse because that's what happens.
Exactly.
We get worse.
Yep. Yep. So what I've been seeing in about 80% of people now is in the first 30 days, not only are we moving metals, but they're actually improving vitamin and mineral status and they're feeling nothing or they're feeling better. Because when you detox, you don't want to feel anything,
Right.
or you could feel better because the people that feel better, and this is actually an important key. I'm getting sidetracked, but an important key is that zeolite not only removes what we are using it for, which is basically the stored metals, the toxins, the glyphosate, the mycotoxins, but I think one of the main benefits to zeolite is that it helps remove what I call the daily dose of toxins. So every day we're dosed with both the internal and external toxins. So the internal production of toxins that our body produces is greater than the external sources. So internal production basically is metabolic waste and microbial waste. So just from daily life, our bodies are producing waste products, which is normal. If our bodies are healthy, we can actually get rid of them. If we're not healthy, we have trouble getting rid of them. And that's basically taking up space. It's basically using up your detox energy. So then the other metals that come in get pushed to storage. So for example, ammonia. We all produce ammonia in our bodies daily, especially when in protein digestion. And if your liver and kidneys and everything's working properly, the ammonia goes to your liver, you convert it to urea, the urea goes to your kidney, you pee it out. If your liver's not working properly, then you get a buildup of ammonia in your blood. The ammonia can travel to your brain where it's neurotoxic and it's floating around. It's incredibly toxic. If your kidneys aren't functioning properly, it's not going to convert it to urea. That builds up. So zeolite actually binds to both ammonia and urea. And I think that's one of the main reasons why people feel better right when people feel better right when they start taking it. It's because they're removing a lot of the ammonia, urea, and other normal waste products that are floating around that were just causing a ton of stress on the body. So we've got that, and then we've got the microbial waste products. So if you've got microbial issues, the yeast, the parasites, the bacterial, the endotoxins, like all that stuff, they're releasing these microbes are releasing toxins daily, and then the zeolite helps sop up those toxins. And when you sop up those toxins, it calms down the immune system because your immune system doesn't have to attack all these things constantly. So I think just binding the microbial waste and the metabolic waste, which are being produced in your body daily, is the first step for detox because then your body has more space available in circulation to handle other toxins being pushed into circulation as you start a detox process. If you don't take care of those first two, and then you just try to chelate a metal and you push it into circulation, if you're already at full capacity, bam, you're going to have stress on the body no matter what. So you have to take care of that
A
first
lot
layer.
of functional doctors actually do that. So they go right to heavy metal, chelation and all that right from the get-go. What about reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species, like those, reactive things? Does it bind
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. Well, everyone, and even some of my literature, I would say, everyone says that zeolite is a direct antioxidant because it'll trap free radicals in its zeolite structure and deactivate them. I don't know if that's 100% sure or not. What we do know is zeolite isn't strong antioxidant and it has antioxidant capacity. I can't tell you 100% if that's the main mechanism. I know there are other mechanisms. So for two of them, one, zeolite reduces the production of free radicals. So because you have all these toxic, if you have the mycotoxins and the excess histamine and the metals, whatever, all these toxic elements, those are causing extra free radicals to be produced. So as zeolite binds them and basically removes them from the body, you're getting less free radical production. So there's one key. Zeolite also raises your total antioxidant capacity, meaning your body can now handle more free radicals without resulting in oxidative stress. So basically my formula
Is that indirectly because it's removing your toxic load? I mean,
it's from whatever it's doing, either that or something else. I mean, it definitely raises with it. And there's research indicating, it was chicken research, but still research indicating that the zeolite raises glutathione peroxidase levels, superoxide dismutase, and vitamin status. So as you're basically raising your body's natural antioxidants and antioxidant capacity, you can just handle more free radicals. So because we're producing these free radicals every day.
right.
If your body can keep up with
Part
it
of our
as total
metabolism.
antioxidant,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can keep up, it's not a problem. If they overload your system, that's where it results in oxidative stress, which is the inflammation and cell damage. So we're basically lowering the free radical production and raising your body's natural ability to handle it, so you can just handle way more. And then in addition to that, it may also be directly trapping free radicals. So there's 2 to 3 ways that it's working, but definitely one of the more effective things I found for reducing oxidative stress. Because when you're taking a traditional antioxidant, with vitamin C or anything, basically it's donating an electron, right? It's a free radical direct scavenger, but it's not removing the actual cause of the free radical production.
Right.
So this is a 2-step approach. If you can use those, otherwise you got to use those forever to keep up with the demand, which a lot of people do. This with zeolite, you can basically remove the cause and you can lower the dose and you won't need the others, or at least not as much. So that's kind of how that
Yeah,
works.
I'm trying to consolidate, I'm trying to get down to like 3 or 4 supplements that people need long term
for maintenance. I know I'm doing some custom formulations with I guess it's compounded nutrients. They have the custom blends. So yeah, this would be great. I mean, I'm 100% I've already been recommending it, but I think now it's going to be part of the protocol right from the day one. Now that you have that 4-month protocol with the 5 high
The
dose.
5, yeah. I mean, that's people don't have to do it. That's a little pricey. You can just start. I would start. So generally what I recommend for people that, especially for people that are more sensitive, start with at least 2 tablespoons a day.
Okay.
And here, this is important. Don't split up the dose.
Okay.
So initially I recommend splitting the dose, but what we found is basically the key is to get enough zeolite on each dose.
Okay.
So 2 tablespoons, 1 time a day, you're done.
Away from meals?
There's benefits to each. So away from meals, yeah, if you're taking it with the meal, that's when you have excess ammonia production, all that. It's going to help with that. Away from the meals, probably more of a systemic detox. It depends what you're detoxing. If you're trying to detox mycotoxins and plastics and environmental toxins away from meal, if you're trying to detox heavy metals, you actually don't want to take it on an empty stomach because metals and minerals are similar in structure. So when you fast, your body will not drop the metals or minerals. So a lot of people do like a 16, 18-hour fast. Not a lot of people. Some people, then they want to take the zeolite first thing in the morning. It's going to be less effective at detoxing metals that way because your body's not going to want to let go of the metals because of the fasting state. So if you take it later in the day or after
the
meal.
What is it about the fasting state that makes it hold on to metals?
When you just think, I mean, naturally, when you fast, your body's not going to want to dump any minerals because it's in survival mode. And because it's not dumping minerals, it's also not dumping metals because they're confused in the body. And there is research showing that there was between 2 and 10 times the retention of both essential minerals and toxic metals like mercury after starting at 16 hours of fasting.
Interesting. Retention.
So, yeah, so that's why, I mean, no one talks about that. It's just, I
So
try
what
to
if
do a little
someone's
bit
doing like a
deeper
3 or 4 day
thinking.
fast? Should they do the zeolite at a higher dose before the fast or wait till after the fast?
Either, I mean, both and
Just
during
don't do it
even
during the
too.
fast. Oh, do it during the fast.
You can. It's just that you're still going to bind up what's in circulation. That's not an issue. But what's in deep storage, your body might not release because it's going to, I mean, nothing you take is going to help at that point. But your body is going to be releasing all the other toxic elements because they're not resembling minerals. So it's still beneficial for the other. It's just, we're talking strictly for
Strictly
metals.
metals. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're mobilizing fat when you're fasting, so that's going to have, there will be some disrupting chemicals that are in the fat.
Exactly. So there's
take it
not,
while
it's
you're
not like,
fasting.
yeah, it's not like no metals are coming out because
Okay.
yeah, exactly. If they're being released from fat, yes, it's just, it depends where they're at. There's a lot of factors. But basically you can take it anytime and you're going to get benefit.
Right.
It's just, there's just various things to think of for each situation.
Yeah,
But don't overthink that. People just literally just take it whenever.
Just
People
take
take it at night. People wake up in the middle of the night, they take it morning with food, away from food.
Yeah.
It works and it detoxes everyone whenever they're taking
I take it at night, you know, it's just one of my like nighttime rituals, you know, throw it in a cup, you know, Terry and I take it together. You know, I think I've probably been using 2 tablespoons actually, because I don't measure it. I just go dump it in there. So, yep. So that's okay. So that's great information. So we know all about zeolite. Now we're going to dive into mitochondria and fulvic acid. And I personally have noticed, because I've been taking 2 capsules of that a day. And I had texted you about like, wow, what a jump in energy. Like, this is really cool. Where is this coming from? And so we're going to talk about fulvic acid. That's the other product that is recommended that you take together with the Zeocharge, right?
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, those are my 2 favorites. I mean, Zeolite Labs, it's based on zeolite. And then our secondary product is Fulvic Charge. So Fulvic Charge is basically, it's a combination of 2 fulvics from around the world. But fulvic acid itself, it's kind of a confused subject because it's kind of a broad term that can mean a lot of different things. But technically fulvic acid itself is a nutrient found in a few different sources like soil and like shilajit and a few things. And it's a transport vehicle. So what it does is it can basically help transport nutrients and vitamins in your body where they need to go. So if you're having trouble with nutrient deficiencies and malabsorption, because it's not all about it's not what's coming in our bodies that matters. It's what is happening once they get there. So we can all eat the same, everyone on this call can eat the same exact food, and we're all absorbing different amounts of nutrients. So what the fulvic acid itself does is basically binds to the nutrients in food and supplements as well, and it helps transport them to where they need to go in the body. So I consider it a transport mechanism. It can do a lot of things, so it is marketed for various purposes. It also has pretty strong detox potential itself as a chelator, so detoxing a number of things. It's strong antioxidant capacity. So with fulvic, it's more of a direct antioxidant capacity, opposed to the zeolite, which is indirect. So together they work really well.
Free radical scavenger.
Yeah. So it's and interestingly, fulvic actually is unique as well in that it can both donate or receive an electron based on the need. So it's actually like a modulator, and it's a pH modulator because of the electron donor or recipient. So it's kind of a unique. It's a unique adaptogen, I would say, is really what fulvic is. Quickly back to zeolite. Zeolite also is a very strong pH modulator. So one, it's an alkaline mineral. A lot of people market it for pH balance, but there was a study done showing that zeolite modulates pH. When you put it in alkaline water, it lowers the pH. When you put it in acidic water, it raises the pH. So anyway, side note on that, but both of them work together. They both have very unique pH regulating effects for whatever. There's a lot of reasons for it, but we won't get into that. So with the fulvic though, yeah, a lot of benefits: antioxidant capacity, detox, nutrient transport. So that's just fulvic acid itself. When you look at various fulvic acids on the market, you have some that are straight fulvic. So fulvic is the component in soil and other things. Some of them are 100% fulvic extracts. So those are going to be your clear liquids because fulvic itself is kind of yellowish. So then most of the products are a fulvic complex. So it contains the fulvic acid itself and the naturally occurring matter that was around the fulvic. And that usually includes minerals and organic acids and nutrients, et cetera. So that's really what you want to look at with the fulvic acid product is basically what you're getting, what are the co-nutrients with the fulvic, and then the dose as well. So with ours, we're combining two different sources of fulvic, and that's for a greater vitamin, mineral, and nutrient diversity. So our one source is like a deep soil reserve, and they actually did a test on 500 different chemicals, and there was zero trace of any of these chemicals in this soil reserve.
Okay.
It's like way out in the middle of nowhere, so completely uncontaminated,
wow.
deep earth, and they just extract it and they standardize it. It's like a water washing process. There's no chemicals used. Great quality fulvic product. So that one's got about 50% fulvic acid. Then the rest is the organic matter that includes over 70 trace minerals, a bunch of organic acids, a bunch of all the amino acids.
Oh.
Like the organic acids are interesting. It's got like malic acid. It's got shikimic acid, which is one of the ones that was being promoted, like in pine needle tea. It was the shikimic acid is what was being promoted for those purposes. Anyway, it's got a bunch of these rare nutrients in it.
For the
So it's got
for the immune system, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one source just because we've got all this. So it's basically a trace mineral supplement. And then it's got the fulvic component that's going to transport those minerals into the body where it needs to go. Because naturally occurring, that's why it's in soil, because it chelates to the nutrients in soil and it brings them to plants and makes these nutrients available to them. Because sometimes these minerals are not in a usable form. So the fulvic basically complexes them and puts it in a form usable for plants and in turn for the body as well. So interestingly, the fulvic can also take metals that are inorganic and basically turn them into organic forms that are more recognized by the body for excretion.
Oh.
When you think about like organic and inorganic, you have, I mean, it's just carbon or without carbon. Fulvic acid is basically just a carbon-based. The soil-based is mostly carbon. Some companies even market it as bioactive carbons. So basically, you're donating a lot of carbon, which can be helpful in its own. So it's not necessarily that it's always just the direct chelating effect of the fulvic, but sometimes it complexes these metals to turn them into a recognizable form where you had like an industrial aluminum, and then you can transform them into something your body recognizes for excretion. So a lot of things it does. So that's our one source of fulvic, and that's what we sell at Glyco Life Sciences and Fulvic Boost. Right. It's just straight that fulvic. So what we've done at Zeolite Labs here with Fulvic Charge is we've taken that and we've combined it with another source of fulvic, which is from a purified shilajit extract.
Okay. So
right. So yeah. So shilajit is also very rich in fulvic acid, over 50%, depending on the source. And shilajit is a tar or resin that basically seeps out of the rocks in the Himalayas. And it's been used by the Nepalese and people over there for many, many years as a superfood. And it has great adaptogenic properties. So for fulvic acid content, you can get it from the soil or from the shilajit, whatever. But the difference is the co-nutrients that are found in each one that provide additional benefits. So with the shilajit, you're getting a lot of rare nutrients like urolithins and various things that have strong adaptogenic properties. And the shilajit we're using actually has 10 clinical studies. And the studies are pretty broad spectrum. You've got bone health, you've got energy support, you've got testosterone boosting in men, hormone regulation. You've got all these different things it's doing. And it's probably partly due to the fulvic acid content, but it's also probably partly due to the co-nutrients and adaptogenic properties of the shilajit itself. So it's actually mainly marketed as a mitochondrial support. That's the main thing they market. Yeah, because so whether it's just the fulvic and the detox and the nutrient delivery, or it's that in combination with the adaptogenic properties of the shilajit, I don't know, but it works. So we basically took the two best sources we could find of fulvic with varying nutrient profiles, put them together. That way you don't have to buy separate products. You can just take it in one and you're getting the benefits of everything. So that's really the difference between ours and most products, along with dose. So it's kind of like the Zeolite. You've got the liquids and the powdered versions. Fulvic acid is a little bit more expensive of a product to develop. So that's why most of them are in liquids, because they take the powder and they just make it into a smaller dose for a cost perspective, which makes sense for companies. But we've also found that the higher dose seems to be a little more effective than the low dose. So for example, the most popular fulvic acid product on the market, which is very popular, sells, there's 5 milligrams of fulvic acid per serving,
Oh, wow.
right? So
Yeah.
in ours, if you take 2 capsules, which is our serving size,
Yeah.
and there's 2 capsules per bottle, here's the product here.
Yep.
So if you take 2 of them, you're getting 500 milligrams. So
Wow.
you're getting 100 times the dose
Oh.
of the fulvic acid plus, so 500 milligrams, that is actual fulvic
I
acid.
felt like 5 milligrams was low when you said that. I was like, whoa, yeah, that doesn't seem
Right. It's
a whole
that's why
lot.
when you look at the labels of these things, and most products don't even put the content on the label because it's almost embarrassing how little is in there. Even with the zeolites, most companies don't even put it on there, or
Wow.
they put like milliliters, which is just the water.
Right.
There's a lot of tricks they play, but if you can actually get to the how much fulvic acid is in there, you'll find that most products are a very low dose. So ours is, 100 times, probably 50 to 100 times most products. And that's 2 capsules. The other half of that, so 500 milligrams fulvic, 500 milligrams is the other adaptogenic properties from basically the minerals, the nutrients, and the adaptogenic superfood shilajit
So you're getting
combo.
about 1,000 milligrams of
Yeah,
total.
it's 1,000 milligrams total. It's just that each extract is about 50% fulvic acid, and the rest it's other stuff. So it's half. So basically, you're getting a fulvic acid product and a superfood product and a mineral product.
Very
So
nice.
it's like a big combo. So yeah, that in combination with the Zeocharge is a really good combo because it's basically the idea is to address both toxicities and deficiencies.
Right.
So it's out with the bad with the zeolite, and then it's in with the good with the fulvic. So both actually directly putting the nutrients into your cells from the fulvic product and also optimizing the delivery, absorption, and utilization of other nutrients that are already in your body from the product. So it's going to help, it's a bioenhancer. So it's going to help your food be more nutritious. It's going to help your other supplements absorb better, even CoQ10, things like that. It's just going to help things absorb. So
I feel like it'll also help with reducing lipid peroxidation because I see a lot of lipid peroxidation, which then if you have that, then you are really struggling with absorption on the cellular level. So I'm almost imagining zeolites coming in and helping repair the cell membrane, and then fulvics coming in and enhancing the delivery. So you're getting double benefit that way.
yeah. So what I like to do is take them at the same time. I'm really big into stacking things. And this is based on a lot of we actually did before the launch of this product, we've been doing 7 months of testing.
Oh.
Over 100 people we've tested
Wow.
with combinations of fulvic, zeolite, other things to see basically what is happening in the body and at what dose is needed. And what we found is when they're taken together, opposed to divided into doses throughout the day, people are getting biologically much better responses. So if you're going to try both, I would start with the 2 tablespoons of the Zeocharge and 2 capsules of the fulvic charge at the exact same time once a day, and you're done.
Okay. Yeah, I've been taking it at the same time.
So that for that, you would basically need 2 jars of the Zeocharge and 1 bottle of the fulvic charge for the month.
Okay.
That's it. Now, if you wanted to do the ultimate zeolite experience where you think that you're a person that needs a super high dose of zeolite, then you could get that. It's a 20 pack of Zeocharge. Then you would just need 5 bottles of the fulvic charge in addition, and that would last you that 5 months. Because you don't need to raise the dose of the fulvic necessarily. The 2 capsules is pretty good. You can if you want. The dose, it is dose dependent on the studies on the shilajit, where the higher dose was way greater than the low dose, but the higher dose studied is what we have in 2 capsules. That's why we did that. But still, there may be additional benefit at higher doses, but we can't say. We haven't really
Oh,
studied.
you mean if someone did 4 instead of 2?
If someone's at 2 instead of 1. So the studies were basically on 1 capsule a day versus 2.
Got
So
it.
that's why we just did it straight at 2. But if you're taking 4, we don't have the research yet on if that's better than 2.
Right.
We don't, we just
Don't do that.
But 2 is a good one. We know the zeolite higher is better, and we know the 2 capsules at once of the fulvic works really well. So we kind of just stick with that. That's what we know right now. We'll keep you updated if we find anything else out.
Well, lastly, just I know you talked to me offline on how you tested. So can you explain what you did to test these 100 people and what were the results?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're using basically it's a newer technology that measures intracellular, so in the cell levels of both metals, heavy metals, essential minerals, and vitamins. So revolutionary basically for what we need, because otherwise we're relying on blood tests and urine markers and the hair tests and all that. And those are all great, but they're just different in what they measure.
Right.
And we want to see how fast things are being changed. And with hair, for example, it just doesn't change that fast.
Yeah.
So you can't test every month or every couple of weeks. With the urine, you're only measuring excretion. You're not really seeing what's in storage. And with the blood, you're just measuring what's floating around.
Right.
So if you
Homeostatic
weren't-
anyway. So
yeah. So if you weren't just exactly, your body's pushing it right out of there into
Right.
storage. So we're looking at tissue levels in the body. And what we do is we look at the trends. So generally in our study, what we did is we tested people. We put them on whatever protocol, whether it was just the zeolite on varying doses, or the fulvic and the zeolite, or just the fulvic. And then we tested them again after 30 days to see the trend. And that's how we knew if the product was working or not. So basically, we looked at the metals. Were the metal levels going up or down? If they were going up, we actually knew it was working, because that means your body was pushing. It basically opened up your detox pathways. The metals were being pushed out of your body.
Yeah.
If they're going down, it means, okay, it's also working, because you probably just didn't have any metals in storage,
Right.
but they just went straight down. So the younger people, they generally go down.
Yeah.
The older you are, generally they start going up.
Wow.
And we saw pretty significant things. I mean, we're talking 35% reduction in lead in 1 month
Wow.
from, I mean, very significant things. So we looked at that as the trend. And then we looked at, and it was detoxing every single metal. So it wasn't specific.
Oh, even mercury?
Oh, absolutely.
'Cause I
Yeah,
remember one time you told me mercury was not effective with zeolite.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought, but somehow it's being incredibly effective.
Good.
Even because we've talked about
That's
OSR.
good information, because I was still giving them other things to use for mercury.
No, yeah, I talked about some other mercury options, like some of the strongest chelators in the world.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Yeah.
I'm getting
taking it.
faster. Yeah. And I have tons of people on it unofficially. I'm getting way better results with the high dose Zeocharge than with that.
Well, what if we take them together?
I have everyone take them together.
So
But
like that and the bottle of that, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
let's do
If
it.
they're
Okay.
going to do it, I recommend it together. But it's basically, and it goes back to what I was saying, is no matter how strong the chelator is, if your body doesn't want to let go, it's not going to.
Right.
The zeolite does a better job of having a broad spectrum detox capacity and reducing stress on the body.
Yeah.
So your body will naturally dump the mercury into
Plus, you're
circulation.
increasing mitochondria.
Yeah, that's what and that's the
Fulvic,
thing.
You know,
That's the main thing. Yeah. As you increase mitochondrial function, your body has the energy to dump things and to
Yeah.
circulate. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So I would tell people the key to detox is getting healthy. So however you can get healthy is actually going to be the most effective strategy for detox. Now, you probably need to detox to get there. So it's kind of a reverse thing. But if you're perfectly healthy, your body's naturally just able to excrete everything and have energy to push things out of storage. It's very hard to get there. That's why you need the support. But that's why some people that go on ozone therapy and oxygen therapy and various technologies actually have strong detox effects from it, because they're getting so much mitochondrial energy from that, their body's naturally dumping metals. Now, when you do that, it's also good to have a binder like zeolite to then sop those things up in circulation and escort them out of the body.
So if someone's going to go do like IV ozone, should they take the zeolite before or after treatment?
After.
After. Okay.
Yeah.
Immediately
Yeah,
after.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
do. Yeah,
Okay.
after.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
So yeah. So
That's
we're
all.
just-
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited. So when's it coming out?
So yeah, it'll be out when this video posts.
All
So we're
right.
good. Yeah, we've got the product. We just wanted to make sure that we wanted to make sure we knew what we were selling before we started selling it, and we wanted to get the dosing. So, and that's quickly back to the research. So what we found is when people took 1 tablespoon twice a day, along with 1 capsule of fulvic twice a day, the results were good. But when we combined them into the 2 tablespoons of Zeo and the 2 capsules of the fulvic at the same time, the results were incredibly better.
Okay.
Crazy. I mean, we're talking not only were the metals moving, but their vitamins were skyrocketing. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D, B6, B9, B12, all these vitamins actually skyrocketed without actually supplementing with the vitamins. It's because the oxidative stress was lower, so the body didn't have to use up all those vitamins.
Use them up. Yeah. Because I mean, I use the Vicon, and I will connect you with Lisa at some point, because I've been talking up your products here. But people love that because it's like their mineral for it's the HTMA minerals. It's all based on HTMA. And so I feel like, I'm almost, my mind is saying boom, 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 put them all 3 together, and we're looking at like a whole new person in a few months. Just because I'm looking for things that can short the timeline of healing.
Yeah.
I want it to be shorter and less painful. And this seems like this I mean, I've noticed a big difference. So, you know, yeah, my hat's to you. This is exciting.
Let me say one more thing that I
Yeah,
just discovered last week, because this is
yeah,
really like
sure.
this was shocking to me and probably to everyone else. So there's a couple people. One of them was my mother. I'll start with the other lady. So this one of my clients has been on ZeoBoost for 15 months, and she's been taking a bunch of. She works with the functional medicine doctor, takes a bunch of detox supplements, fulvic acid, homeopathic, all this stuff, right? And she's 74 years old. We tested her, heavy metals, minerals, all that. We then raised her dose. She was taking between 1 and 3 teaspoons of Zeo Boost a day, right? So relatively low dose, but that's kind of a maintenance dose. We then doubled her to the 6 teaspoons a day, and I had her take the fulvic and the other things all at the same time.
This
And
is
then we
Zeo Boost,
retested.
not Zeocharge, right? Zeo
This
Boost.
is Boost, yeah, because this is with the Boost because she was already on Zeo Boost from her
Right.
doctor. So I'm confusing these, but yeah,
Yeah.
so she then retested this week. Yeah, it was this week she retested, and her metals just all of a sudden her detox pathways opened. Bam, her lead was like triple. Things just skyrocketed up. So basically, what this means is that everything she was doing, including the lower dose Zeo Boost, was not enough to get her body to dump metals, even after 15 months. So and she's 74, she probably has had these metals stored in her body for 60 years.
Right.
And it took that higher dose of the Zeo Boost to push them out. Crazy. My mom, same thing. This was actually Monday, this week, Monday. The same thing happened to my mom. She's been on the
Are
Zeo
you
Boost.
doing hair on her or the other
This is the tissue.
tissue? Got it.
Yeah, on both of them. Yep. So my mom's been on stuff. She was on the OSR for like 4 years. She was on the Zeolite for good dose for 4 years. Bunch of stuff. I've got her on all this stuff. I just doubled her. I just put her on 4 tablespoons of Zeocharge. So that was double the triple what she was taking before. And then I retested her after a month, and her metals are crazy, like crazy reduction in metals, and all of her vitamins drastically improved. Her mineral status is crazy, how much it improved. And the only thing she did differently was take way more Zeocharge. So for some people, you have to get to that tipping point where you have enough to not only do your daily dose and help the daily stress of the body, but get to the point where you're getting the deeply stored toxins. And some people, that's 4 tablespoons. That's why we start with that 6, just to make sure in the ultimate Zeolite experience. So the point of this is, I know this is kind of confusing, but the point is,
I have both bottles of both, so I'm almost wondering if I should just.
They're both good. Yeah, you can take either. They're both
Maybe
great
I'll mix
products.
them. Can I mix them?
Yeah, mix them. A lot of people
Okay.
do mix. It's just a matter of, they're both going to do basically the same thing. It's just that Zeocharge is actually a little bit more affordable,
Right.
because you only need 2 jars a month to get the same effect as 5 jars of Zeo Boost. So it just saves you a little bit of money, but they're very similar products. We think Zeocharge, and we have all of more data is on the Zeocharge now.
Here's a question for you. If someone's taking the Zeo, doing well on the regular dose, 1 tablespoon of Zeocharge like me, would it hurt if I just wanted to try doing more?
No, yeah. That's the thing. The more, the better. It's just that there's a point where you won't need as much, and then it's just like going to be flushed out, basically. But sometimes you think you're taking enough, but you just have to take a much higher dose to really get things going.
Got it.
In the body. So you could take. That's why with the liquids there's an issue, and most powders, and even our products, any product at the low dose, you could take it for 50 years and really not detox anything out of storage in your body. It's great. It's not this low and slow thing.
I'm thinking about the products like GI Detox that people take 2 capsules at night. I'm almost wondering, what is that doing?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's a GI binder. It's not removing anything from deep storage in your body.
Right. So with this, you can pretty much drop that product, I guess. Sounds like that we could, because it's not, from what you're saying, it sounds like it binds up everything. So it almost sounds like
especially if you
need all the other binders, right? Like the other binders that are in those types of blends.
Right. We're on this research, and right now we're starting everyone only on Zeocharge between 2 and 6 tablespoons a day, and the results are phenomenal. We're talking people just huge decrease and increase in metals, both good dumping and removal, and increase in vitamin and minerals in 30 days. And we're talking moves that doctors look at and say, this is crazy.
That's
usually it takes a couple of years. And that's just with one product.
Yeah, I'm thinking charcoal, and all the charcoal people are taking.
And they're not taking it. People are actually going off. People come in with 20 standard process supplements, orthomolecular. That's another thing. And I love orthomolecular, but a lot of people are on it. We test them, and then we do the Zeocharge and Fulvic charge protocol, and their metals skyrocket going up. So it means that the orthomolecular products were not enough to open their detox pathways, at least at the dose they were taking them on.
Makes sense.
So it's because there's a lot of great products, but you have to get enough where it's, and you don't want to try this approach with every product either, because it could definitely backfire. So
No, I'm gonna go ahead and start this because I would start people on a starting protocol, so that's what it's going to be. And you're recommending 2 tablespoons to start.
Yeah, that's the minimum. So
okay,
that's a good starting dose. If you want to just try it out for 30 days, buy a 2-pack. So they're $59 each.
Right.
So just buy 2 of them.
Right. 2 tablespoons all at once, same time. Don't split them up. Take them all at once.
Yeah, and there's free shipping if you if you get 2 jars. So it's $118 total.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, if you want to try it, and then if that works and you want to go, or if you need a higher dose and you just know right away, just buy the 20-pack, and that gives you a little bit of a savings because it's 20.
Right.
So basically, it's a 20-pack for $999. But that gives you, you're going through 6 of these for the first month, 5 the second month, 4, 3, 2.
Right.
And then
for that aggressive protocol.
Right? Just to get your toxic burden down. And then the idea is, okay, now you can just maintain at 1 tablespoon a day if you choose to do so, just for your daily dose of toxins.
This is exciting. I mean, for mast cell activation, even I'm thinking mycotoxins, right? All that mast cell activation.
We've got a mast cell activation doctor, one of, if not the top mast cell activation specialists in the country, who sells ZeoBoost, highly promotes it. So we've got tons of people with mast cell activation taking Zeolite. But it's, once again, those are very sensitive individuals, as you know. If they take a low dose, it's a disaster. They have to start with the higher dose, because zeolite is very effective at binding to histamine, which is why it's so helpful.
Oh, it binds histamine.
Absolutely. It binds excess histamine. So that's another reason why people get detox reactions is as you stir things up in the body, your body, especially if you have mast cell, you start producing excess histamine. So you need a binder that can bind to the histamine to reduce the symptoms. So that's why I don't even use other binders anymore.
Can you take it with your histamine foods?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good news.
We have tons of people that buy the zeolite just in the spring and allergy season, just for allergies, even. Not saying it's different. It's not an antihistamine.
Right.
Not,
which you don't really want to take long-term antihistamines because that messes your DAO enzyme and all those other things anyway. So this is binding up the histamine your body is producing. It's not antihistamine in that manner. It's actually taking it and removing it out of the circulation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just another, and that is included in the dose theory as basically part of one of the 5 reasons why our higher dose is more effective. So if you're interested, I would highly encourage everyone to actually read that higher dose document that's on the website, because it's a little technical, but it really is going to explain if you're on the fence about should I take more or less, because most people listen to this and they're like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the sprinkle.
Yeah, a sprinkle.
But you really don't want
you might actually react negatively to a sprinkle based on what you're saying. So the mast cell doctor you're talking about, is she doing the higher dose with her mast cell patients?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Various doses. I'm not quite sure exactly what the dose is, but when they call, I definitely tell them to take a higher dose.
Yeah, so that's important, because I think people really hesitate with that amount of. I mean, it's a lot to take. I mean, you must have to put a lot of water in it, huh?
Yeah, that's the only. I mean, I personally, for reference, I've taken an entire jar a day for 10 days in a row, 150 grams. Right. Wow. So that's how I've done it. And what I did.
How many tablespoons?
That would be 30 tablespoons.
Ay.
And I did it for 10 days in a row.
Yeah.
Actually lost 5 pounds during.
Wow.
I wasn't trying to, but I did. Went to the bathroom way more.
I've noticed that. I have definitely noticed that. Constipation's gone.
Yeah. So a lot of people think chronic constipation for 50 years, it's gone like the first week.
My TSH went down too.
Yeah. It's just, it does so many.
I noticed. In just a month. In just a month, it went from 3 point something, which is not good. I'm not proud of that, to 1.5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing. So I did the full jar a day because I did before and after testing, because I wanted to, because the one thing you'll come across on zeolite is there's some misinformation out there that discusses zeolite is going to leach aluminum into your body or something.
Okay. And that's misinformation.
Yeah. Well, technically it's right depending on the zeolite product.
Right.
Because zeolite's a broad classification of mineral. So we're only using the type of zeolite that has a very high silicone to aluminum ratio that won't allow the structure to break down in your body. And ours is actually the highest silicone to aluminum ratio zeolite I've ever seen. It's 74.8% silicone,
Okay.
which is incredibly high. So yeah, it's not going to break down. And I can prove it now with that test. And I have the test available if anyone wants to see it. It shows my aluminum levels before the 10 days and after, and it shows zero change. Like to the sixth decimal point, it changed. It was like identical. So it just shows you it didn't.
Do you have it with you?
Uh,
Is
it's
it
on
on?
my other computer.
Is it
I can say, I'll email it to you.
Yeah,
So if you
I would
want
love
to
to. You know, what would be really
post
nice
it,
if you ever were able to do like the before and afters of some of the testing that you're doing.
yeah, I've got them. I mean, we could do a whole nother thing where I just
Sure.
go after case studies and
Case
say this
studies.
is the dose they were taking, this is what they were doing
You should
before.
publish it. I would help you write that.
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still conducting the study. It's kind of an
Okay.
ongoing thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we're spending a lot of money on it.
Yeah.
Like, because we got to pay for these lab tests.
You want to you want to publish it? I know exactly where we can publish it. So you just let me know
Okay.
and I will help you write that because I
Good.
love publishing papers. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I mean, it's honestly some interesting stuff because it basically proves that you can detox
Yeah.
while reducing stress on your body, opposed
Yeah.
to the popular opinion that detox is inherently stressful.
Right. Very nice. Well,
So,
thank you so much. This is
yeah.
great information. I would definitely love to do a follow-up with you, some case studies, some before and afters, publish a paper. I mean, this is, we've been waiting for this. And I'm telling you, people, I've been experimenting with it. I think I've been doing 2 tablespoons because, like I said, I don't measure. So I've probably been on the 2 tablespoons. I've been doing the 2 capsules at the same time. And I just texted them within like a week of using it. And I was like, something's different. I don't know what it is, but I feel like when I teach my spin classes, I have this crazy amount of energy that like I didn't have before. So thank you for slowing down the aging process.
Yeah. We can all use all the help we can get.
Yeah.